The subject of giving feedback to people. First of all, let me give you our formula for doing it. We talk about did well and do differently. Those are the two agenda items in giving feedback. Did well is not just about saying, well done, great job. Did well is about some specific things that you've seen the person do that you want to give them recognition for. Because giving feedback is often about letting someone know that you've seen it. I've known people in the past who've done a really good job, and you know the thing that's really made them annoyed? No one noticed. No one saw what I'd done. So for a start, did well is about, gee, someone noticed. It has to be specific. Something like, look, the way you handled that phone call, I thought it worked really well, because not just saying, great, well done. To do differently, recognize that the phrase is not did wrong or should have done better. It's so easy to say what you've done wrong. It's so easy to pick up on fault. It's a coaching formula, adding to what you did well. What I'd suggest you might do differently on another occasion would be, so this is a developmental message. If they've actually done something wrong, badly, that's reprimand, and that's a different story. We're not talking about reprimand here, we're talking about a formula that helps someone grow. And it's important that you recognize that this does add to that. It's not you did that well, but something you could have done differently is, so that takes away all the benefit of the did well. It's an and. You did well, and what you could do differently is. So it adds to the message. Here's a trick. Makes it better for the person receiving feedback and easier for you giving it. Ask a question. So in giving some feedback, for someone who's got some experience, you wouldn't do this with a complete new starter. You could say, so look, that phone call you took there, tell me what went well about that, because it was good. So from your own point of view, what went well there? So drawing the did wells from the other person first, and then what if there was something you could do differently? I'm thinking about the way it ended. What could you have done differently there? So getting them to think it through, and that's so much more powerful than simply you saying it. They've given their do differentlys, you add yours. When you're giving your observations of do differently, avoid the word you, certainly early on in the sentence. Better if you can put it in terms of yourself. What I observed was, as I looked at it, the way I saw it was, rather than you, which is, it's almost finger-pointing language, isn't it? What you did was, and what you could do differently is. Keep the do differently in terms of what I noticed and what I might suggest. Lots of I at the beginning of the sentence. Not to be arrogant, not to be pompous about it, but simply to avoid finger pointing and making the conversation sound like fault finding or blame. So, top 3 tips for giving feedback. First, use the did well, do differently formula. Second, be specific. Not just great job, but what I noticed there was, so giving specific feedback and specific advice on the do differently. Third, get the other person to start, ask a question. Ask, what did you do well? Then add your own comments. And what could you have done differently? And then add your own comments.